Regulators, mount up.
Hey everybody, Lewis here, Rshackbbq and other things. Well, today we're going to continue our rib series, and we're going to do some ribs, St. Louis style, up on a Weber Smokey Mountain. So let me get the Weber Smokey Mountain out, show you how I'm going to set it up, and get into this cook. My WSM, I do have a hinge for the lid. Normally you can just lift these off, but mine has a hinge so it stays up. That way I can work on it. But in this case, we need to get down to the charcoal. So we're going to lift off the centerpiece and the lid together. We'll set it aside. Now, what you see here, is I've got my chimney already sitting here, and I have it about a little over halfway full of unlit charcoal. We're going to set that aside for right now. Then here, I've taken charcoal and I put it all the way around. I have this little spacer, and I'm going to take this out now, and that leaves me a little opening down there. What I'm going to do is got a couple of my favorite things, tumbleweeds. We'll get those like that. And then we'll take our chimney and we're going to set it up on top like that after we get those lit. So we'll get those lit. This back vent on this side I have open about halfway, and then the vent here I have fully, and the vent over here is all the way open also. So there we go. Get that going. Got our tumbleweeds lit. We'll just set this on top like so. We'll let it get on there and get those charcoals nice and hot. Okay, our coals are going pretty good here, so let's go ahead and get them dumped here in the center. So what we want to do is we want to take it, put it right here in the center. Okay, get that out of the way. Then we're going to add my favorite, some whiskey barrel drunk chunks, oak whiskey barrel chunks. And basically, I'm just going to put like 5 of them in here. Now you can find these on Instagram at Drunk Chunks. They're pretty nice. I like them. So we got that all in there. Now we want to get our base on here, our centerpiece, and our lid. So let's get this back on there while that's doing its thing. Let's get the lid open. So I've got the water pan down in here, and what I've done is I've wrapped it with foil. Let me bring you in so you can see that. You can see the water pan I wrapped in with foil. I also have a pit temp probe hanging here. We'll show you what I'm going to do with that in a few minutes. Got it coming out this side. We're going to hook it up to our fireboard, but let's get some water in there and get the other rack on it. Now, in running water, my opinion is it adds moisture, and it also helps control the overall temperature. And basically what I have here is a 1 gallon jug, and I pour that much water in here. That should be good. It'll probably all evaporate out, but that's what happens. Then let's get our bottom rack down in here. So we have our bottom rack in there, and we'll get our top rack on here. So what I like to do, as you'll see here, I like to take this probe and I actually stick it on the underneath side. That way it's kind of out of the way of the ribs and stuff when I put it on here. Get it all lined up there. And it's basically, let's see if we can do this. I'm stepping on the cord, so get it loosened there. There we go. I like to have it kind of nice and tight right there. We'll let this go for a little bit. And what I'm going to use is my Fireboard 2. I think that's what it's called. Let's see, Fireboard 2 drive. We're going to hook this up. I charged this up, so we should be good with this cook all the way through. We'll get that on there, and what this will do is tell me, once it comes on, the ambient temperature inside the probe. Let's see, Wi-Fi connected. It says that it's 79 degrees in there right now. We'll set this over here. Get our lid closed up. I'm gonna open the top vent all the way, and we'll let this come up to temp. Okay, you can see we're running about 258. We'll go ahead and get our rack of ribs here onto the smoker. How do those look? Let's get them on. So I'm going to go ahead and lay them right here in the middle, kind of squish them up a little bit, and we're just going to let them go for a while. Looking pretty good. Let's close this up. Now we will probably come out we'll probably come out in about a half hour and check them and probably spritz them with water and just let them ride. Okay, it's been about 45 minutes, and as you can see, we're sitting at about 267.7, 0.6, coming down a little bit. I'll probably open up the vents here just a hair to kind of get it to go back up. We're going to go ahead and take a look at these ribs and see if we need to spritz them. Let's open this up. There you go. But we've got quite a ways to go here. We'll go ahead and get our little spritzer here. Like I said, this is just water. Just do a quick little spritz on them. We'll get those vents adjusted. I'll let them go another 45 minutes. Right now we're running about 264, I would say, 265. And what we want to do is take a look at these, but let me put my little gloves on. I think we're at the point where I'm going to want to wrap them. And what I want to do is, these are insulated gloves. You can see how beautiful they look. We're starting to get some pull back here. And what I want to see a nice little bend to them. And that is what I'm looking for. The color is great. Pick off some of this blood. This stuff, this black is the blood seeping out of the bones marrow. And it just doesn't look good. So kind of pick those off real quick. But I like how nice and bent they are there. The bark is nice and sticky. So at this point, all we're going to do is we're going to flip them over, put them in foil. I like to double wrap, add a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that's it. So right now, let's go ahead and get this set up over here so you can see that process. Got them back on the smoker. Temp's running good. Water's good. So at this point, we've set the color we want. We've got the nice bend to it. We can crank up the heat on these, and it's really not going to affect them too much. We'll probably let it go up to, you know, almost 300. So I'm going to add a few more lumps of charcoal in there, and we'll let this thing climb up. And we'll come out every hour and kind of just probe them to see how they're doing. Once we hit that, then we're going to start saucing them with our special sauce. So we'll be back out here in an hour and take a look at them. Using Kingsford Professional brand charcoal today. Let's get this open up. Move over there. Like I said, I'm going to get down in here and I'm going to just spread it out like so. More. Not going to take many, but we'll just let it continue to burn. There's no reason to add more wood to it. At this point, it's taken on all the smoke it needs. It just needs the heat to cook. So, get it closed up. Let it continue to burn. Just take a quick read, and we're just going to probe for tenderness. And look at how easy that goes right through that meat. That's going right through there. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually unwrap them, and we're going to sauce them, and we're going to do that part of it now. So. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just let these sit in here for about 15 minutes and steam with that sauce on it. Okay, so our ribs have been on here for about 25 minutes with the sauce. Let's just have a quick look at them and see what they're looking like. Oh yeah, those are beautiful looking. Let's see if we can zoom in on them. How's that? How are those looking? Aren't those beautiful? Oh yeah, very nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take them. We're going to take them in the house. We're actually going to tint them. Let's have a look at these ribs here. Pull them over here. Take our foil off. Aren't those beautiful? Just simply gorgeous looking ribs. Let's take them out of here. Right, like this. There we go. Not doing a great job of cutting them as always. Do you have an idea what they look like? Let's take this one right here. Look at that. Alright, let's get a bite of these things. Take a bite of these ribs off this Weber Smoky Mountain. Look at that bite. That's what I call a perfect bite. Oh yeah. That sauce on there. Delicious. So how I did that, how I seasoned those ribs up, then I made that, what's called the Minion Method when it comes to the charcoal, how I had a spot in the center open and I lined charcoal around the outside of it. I lit my chimney with about a little over half full of charcoal. Got that going, and then I poured it right there in the center so then it would burn out. I hooked up my fireboard with the ambient temp probe, so it was showing me what the temperature inside the smoker was. I did put water in the water pan. Ended up putting about 2 gallons in there, and then I cooked the ribs on the top rack. My goal was to run between 250 to 275. We pretty much stayed right in there. We were up around 290 a couple of times, but for the most part, we were right there around 270. We let it go for 2.5 hours, just sitting there on the rack. Then what I did is I took them out. When I noticed that they had a nice bend to them and the color was beautiful, I took them out and I wrapped them in foil with just some apple cider vinegar, about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in there. Put them back on the smoker and let them go for another 1.5 hours. I did crank up the heat a little bit. We were pushing anywhere from 280 to 300 at that point for that 1.5 hours. After that 1.5 hours, I started probing with my quick read, and they were probe tender. So I knew that the meat itself was done. So at that point, I unwrapped them and kind of made that foil into a boat, exposing the meat side of the ribs. And then I put my barbecue sauce on, and then you saw what I did there is I put that simple syrup and water combination on the top of it. That's what was in this clear container. Now I saw that on Baby Back Maniac's latest video, and I'll have a link to it so you can see that and see what they did with it. But it added a little bit of flavor to these ribs and gives it a nice sheen on the top of it, nice color to it. So let it go there for 25 minutes, and I just sauced them one time. Then I came back when I took them off. I re-sauced them, and then I put foil on top of them, brought them in the house, and let them rest for 15 minutes. And this is what we got. A beautiful, bite-through, gorgeous rib. Sorry, I had to. So delicious. Anyhow, that's how ribs will come out on a Weber Smoky Mountain. You don't really have to do too much maintenance as far as adding more coals and things like that to it. You just kind of monitor it. And if you need to add a few, add like 5 to 10 at a time. Let that thing adjust and let it ride for a little while. So next, I think I'll probably do a rack of ribs on a regular kettle, so you guys can see how to do it on there as well. So like I always say, you could do this too. It's not that difficult. Thank you for watching, my friends. Until next time, grill on. We need to eat.